Greetings, metalheads, and welcome to No Nonsense Metal Reviews. I'm George, and today I'm here with something a little bit new, something a bit different. The title, still at this stage, a work in progress, a completely pointless effort, whether you want to call it album versus album, album wars, metal head to head, whatever you want to call it. This is essentially pitting two albums. They might not necessarily be the most commercially successful or the biggest albums. They might be, but two albums from the same artist, the same band, putting them head to head. Which one is my favourite? Which one is your favourite? Which one is the best out of the two? And of course, this is entirely based on, at this stage, my opinion. And we're all entitled to our own opinion. So this is just a bit of harmless fun. Talking about two albums from the same band, same artist, but putting them head to head. Which one is better? Let's tackle the big questions here. Now, talked a lot about death metal bands and death metal releases on the channel recently, so we are going black metal to start with. And we're going with probably one of the biggest names in black metal. A heritage Norwegian black metal band. We're going with the mighty Immortal. May have heard of this little band. This unheard of outfit. Of course not. Everyone knows Immortal, household name. We're going with Norway's finest. I put against some seriously tough competition for that title, of course. The mighty Immortal, with third album from 1995. This is Battles in the North. Now this is held in exceptionally high regard. The Scene Over, and it is with good reason, because it is an absolute stellar album. It is just out of this world. This is next level brutal black metal. But is it better than 1999's album number 5, At the Heart of Winter? Probably one of the most well-known Immortal albums, alongside Battles in the North. We could say it's probably one of the most popular albums, but which one is better? Now, why have I picked these two? If you've been following the channel, you've seen my other reviews that have included Immortal. I personally hold Diabolical Full Moon Mysticism in exceptionally high regard, and that has a very dear spot in my heart. As does the following album, Pure Holocaust, another absolute favourite of mine, and I know from comments and you sharing your opinions, a lot of people love that album too. But I think from revisiting this album, Battles in the North, quite a lot recently, this is absolutely savage. This is some of the most brutal black metal I think I have come across. Certainly 1995, so this is, black metal is, second wave black metal is established by this point. Dark Throne are doing their thing. Emperor are doing their thing. Mayhem are doing everything and being crazy. There's a lot going on. The scene is established. It's got a firm footing. Immortal come along. Same sort of period of time, of course. They're right in there. And they just seem to get heavier and heavier. For a few albums, for 4 consecutive albums, they are just getting more brutal, in my opinion. But this album, Battles in the North, really does, in my opinion, combine the brilliance of Norwegian black metal and the brilliance of Immortal, who were, established by that point, 3 albums in. But they turn up the heaviness to something else. This is a freaking beast of an album. It's only about 35 minutes long, but I think this is arguably the heaviest. I know that Blizzard Beast is an absolute tank of an album as well, but I personally just feel there's something about this in the utterly unrelenting, full throttle pace of these tracks. 35 minutes, absolutely barbaric stuff. And this is the legendary lineup, trying to bring out the... Actually, I don't know if it does have an insert. I think it might actually just be a poster in there. But this is a lovely vinyl package, if you haven't gathered. But this is the legendary lineup. This is Abath, Doom Occulta, and Demonaz, Doom Occulta. the heyday of the band, the legendary lineup, as you can see there. Immortal have undergone a few changes over the years, as we know, but this lineup, this is the classic, and this album's freaking heavy. Battles in the North is one of my favourite Immortal songs. I think it is absolutely skull-crushing, but it's got that real diabolical evil to it. You can just picture yourself listening to that song, listening to this album, standing there on a snow-covered peak, wielding a battle axe. That is exactly the sort of imagery that comes to mind for some of us. Battles in the North, absolute beast of a track. At the stormy gates of mist. Now that's another thing that characterises Immortal, in my opinion, is their poetic and fantastic song titles. Absolutely brilliant. But start to finish, I could go through each one of these tracks and say that it's an absolute beast, and that's because it probably is. There aren't any tracks here that are weak or subpar. The album does have a good flow. However, on certain formats, and I do have this album on cassette and CD as well, but certainly on streaming formats, the mix, the break between songs really does lose the pace, and that's a little bit annoying. I can't quite remember if it is the same with the CD, but I think we're okay with our good old analog vinyl. At the Stormy Gates of Mist, absolutely fantastic. Through the Halls of Eternity, freaking epic. This is brutal stuff, but there are some amazing melodies. There are some really great rhythm sections there. Of course, we're being absolutely pummeled by blast beats, but we've got these amazing melodies there. Really encapsulating, intoxicating stuff. Moonrise Fields of Sorrow, absolutely cracking. Try and pick out some more real highlights. Grim and Frostbitten Kingdoms, which is savage in the extreme. That is raw black metal. That's frostbitten black metal right there. Then we get some really good melodies, and I'm talking some really chilling, spine-chilling stuff in Circling Above in Time Before Time, which is a glorious track, a really, really glorious standout track in my opinion. And arguably my favourite track on this album, and another of my favourite Immortal tracks, is Blasherick Mighty Raven Dark, the very epic but still exceptionally heavy and ice blasting closing track there. Beautiful guitar work, really fantastic guitar leads on this album. The whole thing is kind of brought together really, really well by not just the riffs, but of course Abath's vocals. Such a distinctive voice in metal, in black metal, and one of the icons. Absolute icon, a true legend. And all of that combined, the amazing, emotive melodies, the absolute unrelenting savagery that's almost verging on death metal at times, and just the brilliance of the whole composition. It just makes this such a spectacular album. And if it wasn't for 1999's opposition album here, At the Heart of Winter, I would say that Battles in the North could quite easily be a contender for the best Immortal album and could be my favourite. But then we get this stunning album. A few years later, what a massive transition. Following on from Blizzard Beasts, which is an absolute tank of an album, pummeling in Extremitus, we have something that is 6 tracks long, longer in duration. It's sort of 45 minutes, I think, if memory serves. We've still got the legendary lineup here, but there's much more melodic, melancholic beauty in the guitar work there. The atmospheric, this has an atmosphere and a chilling soundscape that encapsulates the whole album, which is just, it's fantastic. It's iconic. And actually, if memory serves, this was the first Immortal album that I heard and owned, and this was probably for a long time my favourite black metal album, if memory does serve. But It's a masterpiece. It's an absolute masterpiece. Kicking off with Withstand the Fall of Time. What an absolute glorious black metal masterpiece. That has everything. That has emotive guitar work, soundscapes, Abath's croaking, crackling vocals. It's stunning. It's freaking stunning. Solar Fall, cracking black metal. And I mean, the whole thing. The whole thing is magnificent. But of course, there are some notable improvements in terms of production. Produced by and engineered and mixed by Peter Tagtgren, a very well-known producer. You may have heard of him from most metal bands. Only kidding. But he's produced a whole lot of albums. He's also, of course, vocalist, guitarist of Pain and Hypocrisy, legendary band. So he's a very talented guy. Really well-produced album. And that really complements the beautiful melodies and the soundscapes and the atmospherics and the ambience and just the raw, bone-chilling black metal. This is cold. This is freaking cold stuff. Amazing. Tragedies Blows Horizon. This album, unlike its opposition, has a lot of hooks. There's a lot of melodies that you can really get to grips with. It's the sort of thing that really sticks in the mind. It's proper catchy stuff. Very memorable, very hooky. Then we get Where Dark and Light Don't Differ. I would say that Where Dark and Light Don't Differ, as well as Tragedies Blows a Horizon, two of the most catchy and memorable choruses on this album, definitely. At the Heart of Winter, the title track. Now that is my favourite track on this album. Another one of my favourite Immortal tracks. That intro with that kind of synths and the soundscape, that's it. That's bliss. That is absolutely magnificent, stunning atmospherics. Really emotive stuff. Whatever I'm doing, and it's been the same for the longest of times, I even have to be very choosy about when I listen to this album, because I have to stop what I'm doing, close my eyes, and just submerge into this immortal, frozen land. It's beautiful. I love this album. I think this is an absolutely fantastic album. It is black metal. It's caustic black metal. Those riffs, they are fantastic. Buzzing, scratching. We've got Abath's croaking vocals, as I say. Longer tracks, generally, 6 minutes plus, but does not get boring for a second. A significantly better pace and flow here. There's no maybe issue with the mix, where unfortunately Battles in the North does suffer a little bit because it is brutal blasting black metal right up to the end of the track, and then a break, and then it begins again. This, seamless, brings everything in very nicely, very, very well mixed and mastered and produced, of course. Glorious, absolutely glorious. But in terms of outright heaviness, Battles in the North has the upper hand. So, merits of these two albums. What are their strong points? Start with Battles. Of course, it is ridiculously extreme. It is amazingly heavy. It is caustic, raw black metal in extremitus. It is an absolute work of art. Some of the most extreme black metal, and just a all-round fantastic album, start to finish. Merits of At the Heart of Winter, I think it does sound better in terms of it's more palatable. If you were new to black metal and you weren't a death metal fan, then this would be a good place to start, because there's elements here that could appease symphonic metal fans and thrash metal fans, where a lot of new to Immortal fans, or I should say those that are unfamiliar with Immortal, might struggle if this was the first album they heard. I'm sure that there are many metalheads out there that this is the first album that they heard and they loved it from the off, and that is absolutely fine. But this is next level heaviness. 1995, savage black metal. This, on the other hand, I feel this is probably more palatable. It does sound better. It is more characteristic I feel of that kind of cold, frosty black metal. That's my personal opinion. This sounds more like a rounded black metal album, an absolutely stunning, majestic black metal album. You know, taking things to almost a pure simplistic approach. It does feel like a much more simplified album, although it is intricate, but it's not progressive and complex in the way that, you know, Enslaved evolved to become. But it's a stunner. But if you're looking for just some good, extreme, full throttle black metal, then of course, Battles in the North, that is going to win just for its outright insane heaviness. So, do I have a favourite out of these two? I think that it depends what time of day, what day of the week, how I'm feeling. I don't think I could honestly necessarily choose between the two all that easily. Obviously, if you gave me a huge sum of money to make the decision or put a gun to my head, then yes, probably I could make the decision. But if it came down to just these two albums, I'm sure that a lot of Immortal fans and black metal fans and metalheads will agree, this is a tough choice. So, for the purposes of this and the first episode of album head-to-head, album wars, whatever, I'm going to say this is a firm draw. I'm going to say this is a stalemate because both albums have so many strengths and so much magic. That's the key word, magic. They're both magical, charismatic albums. Hugely influential. Where would black metal or extreme metal be today if it wasn't for this band and these two albums? So, my friends, what are your thoughts on Battles in the North, 1995, album number 3, and At the Heart of Winter, album number 5 from 1999? What are your thoughts and opinions on these two legendary albums, and what is your favourite? If you had to choose, I know I'm being a coward here and sitting on the fence a little bit, but what would you choose out of these two albums and why? Doesn't necessarily mean it's your favourite Immortal album, but out of these two. Out of these two albums in this album war, which is the prevailing album, which is your favourite? Very interested to hear thoughts and opinions of others, as always. If you are new to these albums, if you're new to Immortal, from Battles in the North, you need to hear the title track. You also definitely need to hear Grim and Frostbitten Kingdoms. You also probably want to check out Blashrick, Mighty Raven Dark. And then from At the Heart of Winter, you're going to want to check out Tragedy's Blows at Horizon, Where Light and Dark Don't Differ, and At the Heart of Winter, the title track. But you should probably do a decent thing and check both of these albums out. There you have it, my friends. Episode 1 of Album Wars, whatever the hell I'm going to call it, don't know. Immortal, Battles in the North versus At the Heart of Winter. What's your winner? What's your choice? Thank you very much for watching, my friends. Do feel free to like, subscribe, share, comment. It's all very much appreciated. Thank you for the continued support. Do check back soon for more reviews and recommendations. And until next time, stay heavy.